Independent Alliance MP Adnan Hussein has caused a little controversy again after his latest take on protests. The MP who was involved in your party is officially registered as the nominating officer, said this: "The average Brits, black, white or brown, just want to live peacefully, coexist with their neighbours and live a decent life with dignity. The vast majority of Brits do not want Nazis crusading through our streets, nor equally absurd counter-demonstrators. Calm down." Now, Owen Jones picked up on this and he replied, "Do you think the anti-fascists who mobilised at Cable Street were equally absurd to the fascists?" Adnan responded with a screenshot of an earlier tweet he made. "Peaceful protest by all means. I admit my initial post wasn't articulated clearly, but some of the imagery coming out of yesterday's counter-protests is exacerbating a situation which is already extremely volatile." They then exchange a back and forth. So Owen comes back with equating anti-fascists and fascists is really gruesome stuff. And the argument you're making here was deployed at Cable Street, counter-demonstrators at the time. Adnan, political landscapes change over time, Owen. Each requires a response tailored to the given moment. I think I'm safe in betting a rise of an extreme movement calling for the mass deportation of people like me and my family is affecting my life in many ways may not even comprehend. I'm not here to cater to people's hurt feelings. Lives are on the line and I wish to find the actual solution. I may be wrong, but I'm very entitled to my opinion and I know many like me are feeling the same." Finally, Owen says, "You are entitled to your opinion and I'm entitled to mine, which is that equating fascists to anti-fascists belittles the menace posed by fascism and dangerously stigmatizes anti-fascists." Now, I have to say, this is a really odd thing for Adnan to say. I just can't comprehend why anyone would both side Nazis and counter-demonstrators, right? Even if you had some people on the counter-demos who, I don't know, you believe make the anti-fascist movement look bad, the ideologies, though, are the polar opposite. Now, I think it's fair to say that your party has had a tumultuous time, and it doesn't seem like things are getting much better. We still don't have the membership numbers. The only number we have that have been made public is the 20,000 signups when Zara Sultana unveiled a membership portal. Since the second membership portal was revealed by Jeremy Corbyn, we've had nothing. The last information we were told is that there is a migration process. But an email from your party shows the problems are far from over. If you signed up to your party only on the portal promoted by Zara Sultana on the 18th of September, you are a member of your party. To transfer your membership onto our portal and take part in the rest of our founding process, we just need you to do one thing. Fill in the form telling us at yourpartyuk.com/join, selecting an "I already paid" option. Why is this necessary? Because your membership data is held by a different company, MAU Operations Limited. We've had no way to access it. That means we can't integrate you into our membership portal. But this last paragraph, I think, is the most telling. "Over the past month, we have done everything possible to secure the transfer of your membership data. Zara, Jeremy, Shoka, Adnan, Ayub, and Iqbal have all made written requests to MAU for the transfer to happen, but legal issues around ownership of the data, which are beyond your party's control, have so far proved intractable. That's why, with time passing, we're taking this step." Now, we have covered a lot of the updates with your party on Turn Left, and as we understand, MAU Operations Limited were the original holders of funds, which was set up by Andrew Feinstein, Jamie Driscoll, and Beth Winter. Now, it seems like MAU won't release the money, and this was quite literally admitted in the previous email. It's not even speculation. Of course, this has created online tensions between those who fall on one side or the other. Nicola James says MAU was only ever authorised to handle the data linked to early payments and to hold funds temporarily until your party was formally registered. Once it was registered with the Electoral Commission and incorporated as Your Party UK Limited, it became the sole lawful body with the right and responsibility for all data, funds and party affairs. But we have Ben Timberley saying, "So it appears that the collective ghouls behind your party are once again monstering the directors of MAU Operations Limited in writing to thousands of people, claiming that they are technically committing frauds. They also claim that Zara Sultana agrees with them. So, of course, we've got strong feelings there. But look, wherever you fall on this, I think we can all agree, we are confused. I'm so confused. But compounding that confusion is the defection of Scottish Green Party councillors to your party. Breaking: 3 Scottish Green councillors have defected to Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana's new left-wing party. It means that your party now have their first political representation in Scotland. Now, what I'm confused about is that the Greens are a fully operational party. Okay, your party hasn't had its conference. And look, I was always under the impression that the membership would choose the candidates. Helena, before we talk about your party, what exactly do you think Adnan was saying? Was he really trying to both side Nazis and anti-fascists?
I mean, it certainly looked bad. I can't look into Adnan Hussein's soul. I'm not telepathic to understand what his original claims were in the tweet that he made. But I think it's broadly appealing to this demographic of people, as he points out, who aren't politically engaged and just want all of the protesters to go away so that the streets are quiet again. But the problem, of course, with that kind of framework, regardless, is that if you have Nazis on the street, if you have Nazis doing their protests and their parades and their marches, whatever it is, their rallies in the street, first of all, if you don't oppose them, they'll just continue doing it, assuming that they have carte blanche to get away with it because they don't feel like they have any opposition, right? They'll feel some level of galvanization that they've been allowed to get away with it so easily. And second of all of those people who are getting frustrated at the fact that there's protests and marches on the street, they're already frustrated by the fact that there are Nazis on the street doing whatever disruptive activity that they're doing. The presence of counter protesters doesn't materially change that. Maybe things get a little bit more confrontational because there's now two groups with different ideologies going past each other, right? But again, it shows, as Owen correctly pointed out, a fundamental misunderstanding of the history of anti-fascism, of the history of protest, of the history of the opposition to the kind of things that, as Adnan points out, are oppositional to him personally. Like, these people are causing problems for Adnan Hussein and his family personally, as he points out in his own tweets there. And I'm like, well, this has been a historic way of opposing them. Do you think that these people shouldn't be opposed? Do you think there shouldn't be counter demonstrations if these demonstrations are going to happen, right? Because that level of disruption is going to happen anyway. The question is, will it go unchallenged? Will it be allowed to go ahead, assuming that there is no opposition? Which, as I said before, will only embolden those who are the ones who have genuine and antagonism towards Adnan Hussein and indeed Muslims across this country. It seems, even if it isn't both siding and it's just a poor turn of phrase that he's used, it's still incredibly short-sighted from him to not understand the reality of what the movement on the ground needs to be to oppose the rise of fascism in this country.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I don't think he actually believes that anti-fascists and fascists are the same, but it seems like he's doing the sort of centrist dad, like, well, both people can be bad, but like, what confuses me a little bit is, look, if you're prime minister or if you're a leader of one of the big parties, right? Again, you're a bit more worried about building electoral coalition. You don't want to be seen as like picking a side. I know you should be picking side on Nazis, right? But let's just drop Nazis for a second. Whenever there's sort of political contention, you always get a politician who say, well, both sides can be bad, right? But this guy is an independent MP of a very small political party that doesn't really exist yet. Like, he doesn't need to be like this sort of centrist statesman that's trying to appeal to everyone. He can just be someone who can be unequivocally like anti-fascist. But again, like, a big mistake here is that, well, I think people are realizing it now, is that Adnan Hussein isn't left wing. No, of course, he is an MP. He is an MP who won on sectarian grounds, but the guy's a fucking landlord and he's a social conservative, so he's not even remotely left wing. So actually, he's a political centrist, centre right, who just doesn't support genocide, which I guess is better than most politicians, but it's not good enough, is it?
Well, look, yeah, absolutely. Like, that's the whole point. The whole problem here is that if it's going to be a left wing party explicitly espousing left wing values, why do you have a guy who is continually opposing that? And even when he called out like the excess capitalism or rogue capitalism, whatever, I forget the phraseology that he used on Twitter. And I'm just like, well, yeah, you would care about like just only the excesses of capitalism and not like the basis of capitalism,
Mm.
because you are the beneficiary of capitalism as a member of the bourgeois, as a rentier, as a landlord, right? And I'm just like, well, you don't properly understand the issues with capitalism in this country, because it is the capitalism that you are pretending to decry here that allows you to take money from your tenants to spend on luxury sports cars. And I'm like, well, at that point, what do you, again, you say you represent your community, and I don't disagree with that. I am in no way trying to impugn the level to which that Adnan Hussein, as a member of parliament, represents his constituency, actually in the way that kind of the spirit of first past the post is supposed to represent, right? In having the constituency link. But what he is his duty to his constituents is going to be incredibly different to the kind of positions that he should be taking if he wants to be a leading figure in a new left-wing party, or any party uh, supposedly of the left. And again, he seems to me just like a liberal Democrat who's good on Gaza.